So now that we're aiming for relevance, we need to talk about how we choose our stories to tell. If we're trying to be relevant, we want to give visitors stories that help them wrestle with who they are and what they do in the world, to turn the park's lessons into actions in their own lives. Okay, sometimes because we are huge geeks, we want to share everything we know. I get that impulse. I do it all the time. I did it yesterday. I gush about history because I'm a history geek. Don't get me started about the intricacies of the rhetorical flourishes of 1850s abolition public speech and the lived memory of the Underground Railroad in the lead up to the Civil War. Anyways, where was I? Right, okay. We know so much. That doesn't mean the visitor needs to know all that stuff too. We interpret, which means we select bits and bobs that can help someone love a place, not fire hose them with facts and washing them away. I know the impulse. Share the complete story. But if a visitor's talking to you for 10 minutes, is that enough time to understand, in all of its myriad idiosyncrasies, the cause of the French and Indian War and its impacts on the broader socio-political landscape of the American colonies in the decade leading up to the American Revolution? Is 10 minutes enough time for them to understand, in all of its myriad idiosyncrasies, the evolutionary ascent of the sequoia tree and its complex but fundamentally unique relationships with the other members of the Cupressaceae family of conifers that make it a staying resident of the mid-Pacific coast? No! That's why we invented books! They're the easiest, most efficient way to transport knowledge from one person to another. You can spend that time, though, focusing not on a complete story, but on a whole story. You might focus on one person, or one experience, or one particular tree, or one tiny part of what makes this place a special place. The visitor has the chance to get to know the whole place through just one or two tiny elements. What's amazing about this approach is that it means that you never need to get bored, and neither do they. Today, you're talking about Steve, a private in the 42nd Oregon Light Infantry. Tomorrow, you're talking about the geologic uplift of the Cardi B strata in the Wiz Khalifa era. And the next day, you're talking about the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow. African or European. Little chunks mean you never need to tell the same story twice. And that means the visitor never needs to hear the same story twice either. Now, you are going to find certain stories that ring particularly well with visitors, that you want to tell over and over again. And that's fine. It's likely because they ring the visitor's heart like a bell. They have a universal human relevance somewhere buried deep down inside.